say someone is coming in with the intentions of being like, yeah, I am not right for this at all. This is Harold Churchill's Top Girls, and I'm pulling up. Your intention might be like, I want to be in front of this casting assistant, associate, or whatever.
Mhm.
And I think if you desperately want to get in front of them, I think there might just be other avenues for you to take outside of coming in and sort of auditioning for something that's not right for you. Once again, you really have to be it behooves you and behooves everyone to just be a little bit more intentional with it.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Hassiem Muhammad, and you are listening to The Actor's Instrument, Tools for the Long Game. Y'all, our views have been skyrocketing. Our subscribers have been climbing. I can't thank you enough. Truly, the show is for all of you listeners. So I appreciate you taking that action, hitting that subscribe button. If you haven't yet, this is your call to action. Please smash that for us. Really appreciate it. Winter is officially the season for Hallmark movies, and joining me this week to share his journey from Super Bowl commercials to Broadway national tours and Hallmark's recent movie, Holiday Touchdown, A Bill's Love Story, is my man, Ugo Chukwu. Ugo is an actor and teaching artist based out of New York City and the definition of somebody who pounds the pavement. Some of his credits include The Night Agent and Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt on Netflix, the Broadway National Tour of Oklahoma, Primary Trust at Roundabout Theater, and commercials for State Farm, Uber Eats, Spectrum Mobile, and many, many more. Ugo, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you for having me. That was great. It's a great intro. Appreciate it.
My guy.
Yes, sir.
People always say that. I'm like, yo, it's you.
I know.
I'm I'm just reading the resume. You know what I'm saying? Like that.
It's done so professionally. It's just like it's not like he did this and this. You know.
Nah, man. No, thank you. And thank you for joining me. And truly, I mean, we're gonna get into it, but I was on your website and I was like, holy smokes, dude, your resume is crazy long. You've done so much work, especially local here in New York, which I think people can take for granted how hard it is to work in town and be able to sleep in your bed every night
Mhm.
while you're doing a gig. So we'll get into that in a little bit. Um, but I want to talk about this Hallmark movie. How was it? How was the experience?
Yeah, no, it was great. It was like a lot of fun. I played one of best friends, one of me and two other actors. We're kind of like a trio, and we're the ones that are like, tell her how you feel and all that good stuff. Uh, Two of them were also theater actors as well. One of them
Mm,
been on Broadway. The other one is a writer and works with Labyrinth as well. So we would always have a lot of downtime with each other, and we would just look at each other, being like, "Y'all, we're doing a Hallmark movie." You know what I mean? So I think it
yeah.
was just so great to sort of have that connection with two people that kind of felt the same way that I felt. But yeah, it was in Buffalo. I have two really good friends that I went to school with that happen to live in Buffalo. So when I had my off days, I would just like hang out with them. But there'd be times where I was like, I just got off set. It's like kind of like 9 o'clock. Do y'all still want to like hang out? You're crazy. They have two
Yeah.
kids as well. And they would be like, yeah, we'll pick you up. We'll just hang out for like even if it's like an hour. So it was great to go to spend time with two people that I love and also just like do work, be employed, you know.
That's what's up. Man, I mean, obviously, like Hallmark movies are like we're not gonna sit here and pretend like it's the most prestigious gig ever, right? But to be completely honest, like everybody watches them.
Everyone. Oh my god. So yeah. Everybody watch Hallmark movies. Yeah.
Like as cheesy as we may want to say they are, as whatever we want to say they are, like everybody watches them. I remember growing up watching them, you're hanging out with the family during the holiday season, you throw something on the TV, it's XYZ Hallmark movie. We all watch them.
Yep. Yep. And like my hot take is there everyone loves to like watch them and or make fun of them as they're watching it. Because they're like, oh, it's a Hallmark, it's so X, Y, and Z. They're not as bad as people think that they are. Like honestly, like I've seen people come in with the intentions of being like, I'm ready to like rag on it as you go along. But then like you're 40 minutes in and maybe you're like not gonna go to the restroom or like not check out because you're like, I kind of want to see how this movie ends. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like I feel like the quality of Hallmark movies, I think they're like kind of aware that they're caked into our like society and like people watch them so much. So I think that like you kind of get like pretty good quality stories. I mean, yeah, it's a little cheesy here and there, but that's why we watch it, you know?
Exactly. I would say if anything, they're formulaic,
Mm.
which is not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, think about all the procedural dramas that we
Hmm.
have. Everybody wants to be on Law and Order, everybody wants to be on FBI. And this isn't a comment about necessarily quality, but like the storytelling structure, it's like every episode is the same.
Exactly. Exactly.
It starts with
Yeah.
that cold open, somebody getting drug in an alley. You know what I'm saying? Boom,
Beetle.
beat over the head, sharp cut to detectives on the scene the next morning. So what happened here? It's like, but we watch them, we love them, and I think that sometimes we can get too on our high horse. And dude, I think it's awesome that you're in this movie that like literally like everybody is seeing.
Yeah, no, truly. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. My mom loves it. I mean, honestly, my mom, she like watches Hallmark movies like all the time. So when I got the offer, she was the first person I called, and she literally was like, "I prayed for this." That's exactly what she was like. I prayed for this. And she's like, I watch these all the time, and she's like, I wonder if Ugo has ever auditioned for this and whatever. And she's like, she knew when it was premiering before I knew it was premiering.
That's that's so hilarious and beautiful. Your mom's like, who cares about Broadway?
I mean,
Hallmark Channel.
honestly.
Um, that's what's up. Now, I try and learn at least one thing from every job I do. Is there one thing that you can pick out from that experience working on this film that you're like, that's something I'm going to take forward with me?
I mean, honestly, like just trusting yourself. I mean, that's kind of like something we all you should do all the time. But like I just finished taking these acting classes for the camera, and there were all these sort of new tools that I was sort of developing and learning, and I got to sort of put them into practice in this movie, and I just remember feeling really like not feeling myself at moments because I was like, this is something new that I'm trying out. And I think I just had to sort of just say, it's working. You know what I mean? Like whatever you're doing, it seems to be working. Everyone seems to be vibing. Everyone seems to be like going along with it and stuff. And so I think that's probably one of the things I took away from it. And like you can have fun. You know what I mean? Like I think sometimes I'm still sort of new to like working on camera, and so there's an energy that sometimes I feel like I need to bring. Um, but I was like, no, you're having a good time, and I think that's why I kind of sort of mentioned those other two actors, Joey and Marianne, because I think like having them there, I think it just sort of reminded me of like, yeah, like, take it in, breathe. We're all having a good time. Like it's okay to be a little loose with it. It's okay to make a choice. It's okay to like have a good like everyone here is working towards the same goal. So like the imposter syndrome and all those other things, you could sort of let go of it. And another thing too, not to sort of get on the road, but like Joe Pantoliano was in it, and he was sort of a last minute change. You know what I mean? Like I remember kind of talking to him and being like, so when did this happen? Like when did you get the call? And he was like, yesterday. And I was like, and he jumped right in, and like, that guy is a pro and a half. So it probably just comes easy all the work that you have to do. But like the fact that he was just able to just like slotted himself right in and like, complete professional, completely just like not like connected with everyone, also was enjoying himself as well. And like that guy, I mean, that's like, The Matrix and Bad Boys and all these really fun movies. And to see him sort of doing this was it was great. And it was like a great pleasure to just sort of be on set with him.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Now, your audition process for this, was it standard agent called, appointment, self tape, boom, you got it?
Straight up. Yeah, it was.
Or
like I said, I was just taking this class. I was taking like a Bob Krakauer class from our convo. Um
Oh, sick.
back, yeah. So like you kind of sort of not gave me the green light, but like it was orbiting in my sphere for a while, and like finally our conversation made me go like, okay, let's do the thing. And I took the class,
Yeah.
and those are sort of the new sort of tools that I had, and I really got to apply them for that and for the night agent. And so I was trying it, and I remember I was auditioning. I didn't really know what it was. I was auditioning for it with my wife was my reader, and at one point she's reading the script and she's like, what is this? I was like, it's called Holiday Touchdowns. People falling in love and they like the Bills. And she was like, sounds like a Hallmark movie. And then she looked it up,
Whoa.
like, no, it is a Hallmark movie. And I was like, should I Hallmark act? Like I was like, I don't know. Or I was like, should I put a little bit more, Hallmark sazon on it? And she was like, no, what you did was actually like fine, And at the time this was happening, I already booked the night agent. I was gonna go on set, but they were sort of trying to figure out if they needed me for 1 or 2 more days and stuff. So like there was a lot of email back and forth between my reps being like, hey, are you available this day? Are you available that day? We're still trying to hear back. We're still trying to hear back. And finally they sent me a text being like, hey, call us when you have a chance. We have some good news. So I assumed night agent, okay, we solidified it. I'll be there for like the 3 days that they offered or whatever. And so I called my agent and she was like, so you booked Holiday Touchdown. And I just was like, wait, what? And she was like, yeah, you got that one. So that's why we're calling you and stuff. So it was great. And like, yeah, but like just to go back to the original question, it was just like a standard audition. Like, the casting directors just, sent the thing in and I did the tape and the rest is history.
That's what's up. No callback.
No callback. No, it just
Boom.
went
Just straight off tape.
straight off.
Hey, we love that.
Exactly. I was like, all right. I don't need a call back. Go right to it.
Right.
The offer is good for me.
Okay, y'all ready to pull the trigger? Let's go.
Exactly.
Okay, before we move on from this film, I want to play a game. The last few episodes, I've been playing a game with every guest. I love games. All right, I'm calling this one This or That. Here's the setup for you. If your life was a Hallmark movie, would you rather this or that? So I've got a couple of pairs of scenarios that you will have to choose between. If this was your real life, which scenario would you rather choose? All right, here's the first one. If your life was a Hallmark movie, would you rather have a big city career meltdown that forces you back to your hometown, or inherit a struggling small business that you don't want?
Both of them offer a crash out, which I love.
I
I think
like the crash out.
I'm gonna go with the first, just so that I can have that big whatever it is. I was like, I need a good, strong, he's jumping up on the counters or he quits in a crazy sort of way. Yeah, I need that one. I need that one, and then I come back home.
Fire. Alrighty. Would you rather run into your high school sweetheart at the worst possible moment, or be fake engaged for professional reasons?
Uh Fake engaged. I'm gonna go with that one just because it's a little scarier.
I was like, that actually sounds kind of fun. A little like,
No, it does, but like I feel like I'm a crack under pressure sort of person. I'll just be like, we're not really engaged. I'll just
not real.
yeah. I'm like, how did you guys meet? We're just friends. I don't know.
All right, this or that. Moving back home temporarily, or being forced to co-host a town holiday event.
Ooh. Um, I'm gonna go with moving back home temporarily. If we're looking at my life, I grew up with a bunch of, I'm Nigerian and I grew up in the Bronx, and I have a lot of siblings. So I just can imagine he comes home, my Nigerian dad, my Nigerian mom, giving me all that energy, my siblings coming in, I think that's gold. You know what I mean? That's the thing.
Fire. Alrighty, and last but not least, a spontaneous slow dance in town square. I said town square. We have Times Square. I'll say Times Square. A spontaneous slow dance in Times Square, or a snowball fight that turns romantic.
Mm. I'm gonna go with the snowball fight that turns romantic. I can't do dancing in Times Square. That'll I mean, well, maybe it kind of works. You see the Spider-Man, you see you in the
How would
background.
how would your wife feel about would your wife choose the snowball fight?
I think she would. I think she would because she'd be like Times Square. Wait, what? We're not doing anything. Times Square. It's just like,
Why are we going down there?
yeah, exactly. To dance, she would have been like, no.
That's valid. That's valid. All right, folks, that was This or That, the Hallmark movie edition. As I said at the top, your resume is crazy long, but I know because we had a conversation a few months ago, and you told me that you spent a lot of your early career without representation.
Yeah.
Like you didn't have an agent or a manager, but a lot of these credits I'm looking on your resume, I know came from before you were signed. Um, so I'm curious, what were some of the strategies that you implemented to find work?
I kind of had like a very, very clear strategy. So what I did was this is like kind of started when I got my equity card. So before I got my equity card, the way I kind of got work was, I'd get on Playbill, I'd audition for things, you know what I mean? And luckily, I just like worked with a lot of people that, would recommend me. You know what I mean? So I got a lot of recommendations, even if it was just like to audition for things, or not. Like the show that I got my equity card in, this is kind of a crazy story. Me and my friends, well, we all graduated from Brooklyn College, and we would sort of help each other out. We would be like, hey, there's an audition happening, there's an EPA that's happening, and they're seeing non-union people. So my buddy, he calls me, he's like, there's a company that's having auditions for The Tempest, and it's EPAs, but they're seeing non-union people. So he was like, you gotta go. I haul my ass all the way down to Brooklyn. I'm the last person seen. I get a call back for it. I don't end up getting it. 2 years later, the artistic director is like, I remember you from that audition. I've got a thing I would love for you to work on. I got cast in it, and he said, by the way, it's an equity show. So he was like, do you want to join equity? So I said, yes, absolutely. That was Target Margin Theater, David Herskowitz, who I adore and is like one of my, he doesn't know it, but he's like one of my mentors. He's like a big
Wow.
inspiration to me. And he just recently won an Obie too for Showboat, a River. So congratulations to him. But the other strategy I had when I got my equity card was I literally would go on Playbill all the time, and I would look at the theater companies that I'd want to work at, and I'd go to their websites, see if they had a casting director, see if they were working on anything. I kind of was always aware of when announcements were made for the next season. So I would do that, look up who the playwright was, look at their past work if they had any, look at any type of clues that can help me. But then and then I would look at those companies and I would say, well, who's the casting directors for those companies? And then from there, I'd find out who it was, make a list, and I would see if their names would pop up at one-on-one. So I took one-on-one classes. It was a hit or miss, but I think I did my best to be as strategic and intentional with who I wanted to see and why I wanted to see them, and also the timing as to why I wanted to see them as well.
Mhm.
So, and luckily some of them were very nice and would share their contact information with me. And so from there, I would email them. I'd keep them abreast as to what shows I was doing, and sometimes I would email them and say, "Hey, like I saw that, this theater company is having auditions for this show, and I don't know if the show's already cast. I don't know what the situation's like, but I would love to be seen for it." And sometimes I would get nothing. Sometimes I would get, "Thank you so much, Ugo. It's already cast." Or sometimes I would get people that would be like, yeah, it's too early, but like send me another email in the next couple of months." So I kind of built just like a pretty decent number of casting directors that I felt like were, if not in my corner, just like sort of kept me in mind. I remember the last big one-on-one class was with Elaine Aldaffer, and she was amazing. She also like taught like a proper 5-week class. And the last week was evaluations. And she would just sort of sit and she'd ask me what I had next, what was going on. And I was like, I don't know. I keep doing these one-on-one classes. These people say you're really good, and then like nothing happens. So I'm like, I'm wondering, should I continue to sort of put all my eggs into this basket, or should I just continue to sort of do the work that I want to do? And she was like, do work. Like, she's like, if you ever get offered a project and you're worried about like doing one on one or doing something like this, she's like, always do the work. And she was like, you have a fan in me. She was like, I'm a fan of yours. And at that time, she was like, they're casting Top Dog Underdog at the Huntington. I think Billy Porter was directing it. She told me, email me when the time comes. I emailed her. I got an audition. I got a call back. I didn't get it. But then a couple of months later, she was auditioning for Ripcord at the Huntington, written by David Lindsay Abaire. And I ended up booking that. And so like I just kind of had to hit the pavement and kind of not, I don't want to say bother people, but I really was like, whenever I felt like I was kind of bothering or maybe I'm doing too much, I was like, you don't have anyone to advocate for you. So
Mm,
if you don't do it, it's how is it going to get done? And the
mm.
worst you can do is just tell you, hey, Ugo, stop emailing me. You know what I mean? And like, and then I'll do it. So that was kind of how I went about for the first, I mean, like for a while after I graduated and started, hitting the pavement.
That's what's up, man. Uh, oh, two things. One, for the folks who are not local to New York, Ugo said he was taking classes at One on One. It's a studio here in New York City where folks can take acting classes, and a lot of times the people who teach them are casting directors, their assistants or associates, agents. Like it's basically like if you want to be seen by somebody, it's just like if you got $40 to $70,
Yeah.
you can see him. Like
Mhm.
it's we frown upon the pay to play, but at the end of the day, and what I love, Ugo, that you explained is like you did it intentionally. And that's the piece I want to make sure people leave uh this episode with is like you looked at the theater companies, what they were casting. You were like, "Oh, I'm right for this." And then you'd go and find their casting director and then take class with that casting director knowing you were already before you walked in the room, you knew they were working on something that you could be seen for.
Mhm.
And that's so smart because, bro, I was I went to an EPA last week. I hate throwing shade at other actors, but I I think sometimes we deserve like sometimes we do things to ourselves and like we need to be called out for it, okay?
Agreed.
And I'm calling out those actors who just show up to projects that they're not right for.
Yes.
I went to an EPA, Ugo. I'm not making this up, man. The breakdown was all men.
Uh-huh.
Would it surprise you that in the waiting room was not all men?
Of course.
And and you can extend that to gender identity and expression. It was not all men in that audition room. There were non-men in the audition room.
Yeah.
Okay. And uh and not only that, I personally know someone. And again, it's not about throwing shade, but like I've known people personally who have signed up for things that I'm like, but you know that you're not right for that. And what that causes is two things. Well, it's just bad for everybody.
Mhm.
It's bad for you because you're not going to get it because you were never right for it. Like if a show's casting an all black cast and a white person comes in, or vice versa, how does that serve you? Like how does that serve me if I go into a call where they're like, we're seeking white men in their 50s and I show up? How does that serve me? Two, it wastes the creative team's time because they're looking at you like, what are we supposed to do with you? Three, and this one is really like bothers me, is you've taken an audition slot from another actor who is right for it. And so I kind of went on a little diatribe there, but all that to say that I appreciate the way in which you went about steering your own career before you had somebody else to represent you. Like kudos, man, because it worked. I mean, people, if you go to Ugo's website, crazy long, ton of work.
He's trying. But also like going back to what you were saying, like, someone say someone is coming in with the intentions of being like, yeah, I am not right for this at all. This is Harold Churchill's Top Girls, and I'm pulling up, to do my monologue. And your intention might be like, I want to be in front of this casting assistant, associate, or whatever. That might be good, but it's also like, think about the timeline. You know what I mean? Like it might not serve you if say they're doing Top Girls, but then next, couple months, the next show that they're doing is something that's right for you. That's a good
Right.
to pop in. You know what I
Right.
mean? And I think if you desperately want to get in front of them, I think there might just be other avenues for you to take outside of coming in and sort of auditioning for something that is absolutely
Mhm.
like not in that's not right for you. You know what I
Right.
mean? So it's like yeah, I get the need to want to be in front of someone, but once again, you really have to be it behooves you and it behooves everyone to just be a little bit more intentional with it.
Right. And that, like you said, that timing, because also you show up, and when I say not right for it, guys, I'm not talking about like, oh, we're looking for somebody who's hot headed. What does that mean? But I've gone on so many breakdowns and I'm scrolling and it literally says, like, there was this one show, I don't know the name of it, but it was looking for all Chinese actors.
Mhm.
I'm not Chinese.
Yes. Yeah.
Period. Unequivocally, that's not a show that I will ever book ever. And if I go it, even if the casting director does book things I'm good for, because I have to assume, I can't speak for casting, but like, I don't know, if I was casting something and somebody came in and it was that far of a departure, I might think, does this actor know what they're doing? Like,
Yes.
it made me kind of nervous about that actor. Like, what kind of person is coming into the room? And if I cast them as something, how would they behave? Like, I don't know. Like, it seems like a sign actually of unprofessionalism.
Mm, yeah.
Whenever you just go about your career just like willy nilly, and I love the word you use, like without intention.
Yeah, man.
Now, you managed to navigate your early career without representation. You booked many off Broadway projects during that time. How did you get your first agent?
So, I got my first agent literally just through like friends, which is like, I mean, I feel like a lot of my stuff that I get is through connections, community. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm just always constantly being held up by the people that I've been able to work with. And so at the time, I was my wife, who's a playwright and writes for TV. She's an amazing writer and a amazing human being. When we started dating, she was with the emerging writers group at the Public, and so in that writers group they have two sort of I don't know if you call them cohorts, but like the people who lead it. There's two folks that lead it. Jesse and
Sure.
Jack. They knew who I was. And at one point, I guess Monet, my wife, she was talking about me to Jesse, and she was like, Ugo is looking for an agent and he doesn't have any representation. And he was so like kind of shocked and like confused. He was like, wait, Ugo doesn't anyone? And she was like, yeah. And he's like, and he's looking? And she was like, yeah. He's like, I know someone. So he introduced me to Elena Fian, who is my manager. She was originally my agent with a company, with an agency. And then eventually she left that agency, was like, I want to be more of a manager. And she's like, I want to keep you on board. Uh, but like that was the first, because I've had meetings with agents, I've freelanced with some agents. This was once again being very intentional. I was actively looking and I was so like hitting not hitting a wall, but I was like, I don't really know where to begin. So I'm literally just gonna go on my Actors Equity website, look at the directory of agents, start at A or start at the number, go to the website, see what they have. Can I submit myself blindly? Are you not looking for anyone? Are you what can I do? Do you want me to mail something to you? Like, and I just started there. I was inspired by an actor that I work with a lot at the time, Ronaldo, who also works a lot, just like me. And has,
Pinella? What's the last name? Starts with a P.
yeah, Ronaldo Pinella.
Pinella. Pinella.
Yeah,
Word.
yeah,
Word.
yeah. He's amazing. And he's someone who works all the time. And I just remember asking him, like, how did you get your reps? And he was like, I think that's what he did. And so I was like, okay, done. And he's someone who I admire and respect tremendously. So I did that. And as I'm doing it, I had this meeting with Elena and like we just clicked. We literally like I was like, oh, this is what I need from representation. I need someone that feels a little bit more personal so that I can like feel okay to ask like those dumb questions and really sort of understand how the game goes. And she's great, you know, and she comes to see a lot of my shows. I think she understands a lot of my work. She understands the type of work I like to do. And so that's kind of how I got her. And then when she became my manager, she was like, I think you need an agent, as she was sort of doing the paperwork that she needed to do. And she would sort of put my name out there to other agencies. And from there, I met the agents that I was with, and then eventually I moved on from them, and I moved on to the agency that I'm with now.
Nice, nice. That's what's up. And how have you noticed that things have changed since you've got representation on your team?
I mean, I'm in rooms that I didn't know how to get into before, and I think that's what it was with these agencies. I think primarily in TV and film. I just was like, I don't know how to crack this code, and I can do one-on-ones, but like as intentional as I was a one-on-one, I also want to be very clear. I had some duds. I had some I just spent $100 and something dollars, and I'm sitting in this room, and I it's just not like, I've had some real existential moments of just like, what am I doing here? What's happening? So I also knew that I got, as much as it kind of worked in some aspects, I also knew that it didn't work for me in other aspects. And so I was really like, how do I get into those rooms? And the only way I knew how at that moment was, I was like, I think I just need reps. I need those people to advocate for me. And so since having them, I've been able to sort of audition for just a lot more TV, film, and I think they've been able to sort of advocate for me so that whenever I'm still on the playbills, I'm still looking at the cast, and I'm still looking at season announcements and stuff. And so now when I see them, I will now like hit them up and be like, hey, this theater company is producing this play. I know the playwright, or I know the director, or I did a reading of it many moons ago. Like, please,
Mhm.
make sure you put that in your notes and stuff. So it's nice to sort of have people in my corner that is doing the work that I used to do. And it doesn't change the fact that I still sort of still do that work.
Absolutely. No, you're still navigating with intention.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Um, the question I ask everybody that comes onto the show is, what is the defining quality that you bring to the table as a storyteller?
That is.
I know.
Yeah.
What sets you apart?
Mm. I mean, I guess I can only go back to like what my like artistry is and like how I am when I'm in the room. And I'm a collaborator. I'm someone that I don't create my own work. And so I'm always in awe of writers and directors and creators when they're like trying to build something from scratch. I spend a lot of times in workshop rooms, and so that mindset is like, I'm literally here in service of this play. I'm in service of this project. I'm in service of whatever this is that we're doing. Sometimes I zoom out just a little bit too much because I'm like, okay, what is this project that I'm in? What are we trying to say? What are we trying to leave people with? And now looking at my character and who I am as a person, how can I help tell that story? Uh, I think when I first started out, I was so happy to be in the room, and in my eyes, the playwright, especially when I was workshopping things, I felt like the writer could do no wrong. So I was like, I'm a collaborator in the way that I'm like, I kind of just became a cheerleader. And at some point, they're like, I thank you for being that supportive, but like, you're in the skin of this world. I need to know how it feels from the inside. So learning how to advocate for the characters that I play, learning how to understand what the story is being told. And like, if you're like, okay, hey, if you want to tell the story this way, or if this is the point you're trying to get to, this is what I need from this moment in this scene. This is what my
Mm,
character is going to need. I think he's going to need a little bit more to say, or I think this is too much. This is too much. I think you need to edit this out in order for that story to be told. But a lot of it in my brain is always coming from, what is the story, and like, how can I help push that story and tell that story as clearly and to the best of my ability. And so I guess that's kind of my thing. I'm just like a fierce, intense collaborator. Like I'm a very like I want to work on on this project and help this project sort of be the best it can be.
That's what's up, man. And I can concur. You are a fierce and incredible collaborator. In our time working as teaching artists with one another, that's definitely something I see in you. Um, and I haven't told you this, similar to the guy you mentioned earlier, who you said was a mentor. Man, I look up to you in a lot of ways, and really inspired, especially our conversations over the last few months when you were telling me about like, yo, there was a time when like I didn't have an agent and I had to like make it happen for myself because I've had representation since I left school
Hmm.
and I've had quiet times in my career. And it's kind of that permission, right? To be like, yo, there's a lot of things you can do to make things happen for yourself. And I love, and this is a great reminder for me always, and hopefully to our listeners, like navigate with intention, like have intention behind your career, pound the pavement, even when you got people on your team. I like to say there's a reason why we get paid 90, they get paid 10.
And you're right. It's true. You
You know,
know?
a lot of us sit back and expect them to do 90% of the work, but they only get paid 10%. Like that don't even make sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that means maybe we should be doing 90% of the work?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also like similarly, I'm so happy that we've met and we've got to work together and stuff because I'm also very inspired by you. Like I see how you move through this business and I'm like, yeah, like that's it's just I think feel like the theme is intentionality and I feel like you have a lot of intention like just like watching how you work and how you move about things it's very inspiring and like I'm always as someone who is a collaborator as someone who is a listener a fierce listener I'm always listening and gathering and learning. And like so I just also want to say like I've learned a lot from you, just like being with you, whether we're teaching, or whether I'm seeing you on the social media, like yeah, like and like by seeing it, it inspires me. So real recognize real. That's all.
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming on to the show.
Oh my God, thank you for having me. This is great. I had so much fun.
Alrighty, folks, if you enjoyed this conversation with Ugo, then you'll love a recent interview I did with Harry Lennox from The Matrix. So be sure to check that out. Major shout out to our co-producers and distributors over at Next Chapter Podcasts. Thank you all for tapping into this episode of The Actor's Instrument. Before you go, smash that subscribe button. We'll be back next Tuesday. Till next time, y'all. Peace.